around the world, around the block. It is now time for the World News Local with your host, Brian Black. Give us 15 minutes, we'll give you the news, or something like it. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Black. Thank you for joining me on this latest edition of the World News Local. A very special edition of the World News Local, I might add, as I present to you the second part of my interview with none other than the face of the Fight TV network. Former ring announcer, host, backstage interviewer, and in-ring performer, SoCal Val. Now, before we watch this, I hope you've had a chance to check out part one. And if you haven't, please go back and watch it. And don't forget to share it and retweet it with all your friends, of course. But anyway, I digress. On this part of the interview, she continues to talk about her career, her interests, who's helped her out along the way, and of course we tackle the biggest question of the world right now. No, not whether or not 45 is going to get impeached or something like that, but is a hot dog a sandwich? So ladies and gentlemen, as always, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. I present to you none other than SoCal Val. Out of all the things that you do do quite a bit in terms of broadcasting, the wrestling, the hosting.
Yeah.
What's the closest to your heart? Like, what do you hold the most near and dear of all your modeling?
I usually say hosting because it sort of encapsulates a lot of things. I can still sort of be a presence and a personality. So I think that to me is I can see myself doing that for the longest period of time. The managing to me is sort of, that was always the closest to my heart because I got to be a character. So, with announcing and things like that, you're not usually in character. So that's the only thing I kind of missed from that. But so the managing was great. But modeling too, it's funny because after Impact, I didn't just assume that I was just going to be some fashion model, but I thought, okay, so I'm known from wrestling as this, lingerie and bikini model, and that's 90% of the models that we do, which I actually loved that. But I thought, okay, I went to Toronto actually several times, and I did a lot more artistic avant-garde shoots, and I loved it. I loved sort of I did a steampunk shoot. I did one out in this desert, like more editorial, and I love that because I love to be creative. But after doing just that, I went, the next lingerie shoot I did, I was kind of like, okay, I'm back, because I love that as well. And I know that sounds crazy because to a lot of women, that's like the most obnoxious thing is to do a photo shoot in lingerie, but I absolutely love it. And I still do them. I have a site on Patreon. It's a members site, and I do these exclusive photo shoots. It's an excuse for me to have fun and do sexy photo shoots. I absolutely love it. It keeps you in check. It's like, it's something that you get in touch with your femininity, and you get to wear pretty things and hair and makeup, and I love modeling as well. So honestly, hosting and modeling is probably, I think I'll be doing those as long as they'll have me.
Now, on Fight TV has a lot of different types of sports, combat sports, boxing,
yes,
and as well as wrestling. Now, how did your background in, I guess, pro wrestling, your knowledge of pro wrestling, how did it help you in that transition in working for Fight?
It was really everything because I mentioned earlier about people that really, you need people to believe in you. And in Impact Wrestling, it was David Sahadi, then it was Jeremy Borash, and, Jeff Jarrett signed my contract, and Dixie was there, as well, championing all the women and things like that, which we all appreciated. But Mike Weber, who is our Vice President of Marketing at Impact Wrestling, is our COO of Fight TV. And he's been somebody that really saw above and beyond anybody else seeing it, that presenting was my strong point. So he was the one that let me do my interviews and let me write my own scripts, and he knew he could trust me with things like that. And so literally we're pretty much doing the exact same thing we did in Impact for Fight TV, with other sports now in the mix. It's funny because now I interview a lot more MMA fighters and boxers and things like that. Obviously my heart is still with wrestling. I enjoy wrestling. But it's really cool to go to, things like BAMA in England, which we just, I did a show for them maybe a year ago. And, that's between BAMA and Bellator, similar to UFC. And then we had a Canelo Triple G fight that was huge for Fight TV that I actually watched and was so enthralled with. I'm shocked to say that. I'm kind of like, yeah, wrestling, I know and I watch it, but boxing is amazing. And the more I'm
sorry, not to cut you off, but that was a quality fight. Quality fight.
It's so true. I was somewhere doing a show up in England, and I had to stay up late to watch it, but I was just like, it's amazing. So I'm thrilled to get to know other sports and to sort of brand. I know it's weird because people that don't understand, you'll understand what I mean. To branch out into other combat sports is actually quite a big deal, but people in the real world that only see it as only combat sports, they don't think it's much of a leap, but it is pretty cool. And Fight TV is growing in leaps and bounds. We have UFC now. So I'm really thrilled that I could be there from, pretty much the first year they had Fight TV. I was in there doing my thing on social media and being the kind of the face and voice of Fight TV. So that's thrilling for me because the company is just growing so much. Everyone I work with is amazing. A lot of our employees are out in Bulgaria. They're the nicest people. And yeah, I'm so lucky that even after wrestling per se, I mean, when I say after wrestling, I mean after being contracted to a very big company for 9 years, I get to do what I love to do. Again, with some of the same people, but a lot of the same people. We're now working with Rob E and people like that. But then there's new people as well. And now I'm in a new country where I'm seeing the British wrestling scene and the British MMA and boxing scene. So it's pretty cool. I'm a very lucky gal.
No, you're blessed. You're not lucky.
I know. I hate doing the hashtag blessed. You don't
understand. Oh, no, negative.
But it is. I do feel blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Who are these people that use that? I've never been able to use that with a straight face.
Don't even get me started on the social media trends. I'm not really big on that. I'm an individual. What can I say?
Yeah, you're so edgy.
Now, doing all the boxing and MMA, do these guys and gals, do they know who you are from the wrestling, from the TNA and everything?
Do they mark out over you?
It's funny that you say that though, because there will be almost every MMA guy specifically that I interview, not all of them, but a lot of them will be like, they all have different comfort levels about admitting they like pro wrestling. I'm just being very honest. Like some will be like, it's funny because one mentioned wrestling one time and I was like, yeah, and I said something about Ric Flair, and they go, no, the other kind of wrestling, and I was like, oh, is there another kind of wrestling? No, there's not. We don't care. But it was just funny. And there's another guy that was like totally honest. One of my favorite people to interview. His name's Jesse Arnett. He's at Big Cats for Real on Twitter. He's a Canadian fighter. He's doing really, really well. And he loves wrestling. He thinks it's the coolest thing. And he sort of, kind of like a Conor McGregor in the sense that he sort of has that swagger about him because he loved watching, professional wrestling. So it kind of puts an interesting twist on him being in MMA, which I think is cool. And now he's into boxing as well. So he's kind of a really well-rounded star to look out for if people are wondering who to watch. So yeah, Jesse Arnett, really good guy. But he's somebody who actually loves wrestling and is free to admit that, which I appreciate.
Well, isn't that kind of weird though? Because a lot of boxers in MMA, and I can see where some don't, but don't a lot of these guys, some of them have personalities and a certain type of swag. They don't think that they got that from pro wrestling.
I think they all got it from pro wrestling, most of them, right? Because to me, that's one thing I will say is to interview wrestlers. Like I pretty much know everyone I interview in wrestling already. I either know them or I know of them. Like I got to interview Dalton Castle, big fan. I'd never met him before, but I was like, you're amazing. Or like an Adam Cole. I mean, does it get more money than Adam Cole? He's the most amazing personality. So I know most of these people, but even when I interview a wrestler that I don't know, they have it about them that they're good at interviews. Whereas I will say, not to MMA or boxing's detriment, but they're more about the craft rather than being a personality. So sometimes it is harder to get interviews out of them because it's just not part of their repertoire, to be honest, not part of their training. With wrestling, it is part of your training to be larger than life. So I have to say it is easier for me, especially being in wrestling, to interview wrestlers. But even if I wasn't in wrestling at all and I just was a generic presenter, I think I'd probably still more enjoy interviewing wrestlers because they give you so much more. They're just so outlandish and zany. So yeah, rather than very serious fighters, we have a lot of Muay Thai fighters, and they're fascinating in their own right. But it's not the same to me as somebody who's cracking jokes and tweeting about it and things like that.
I got you. Now switching gears a little bit, and we'll start to wrap up because I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sorry.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, we got all that cool. Let me just take it back.
So, do you consider yourself a foodie?
I'm getting more and more into it because being in England, everyone says, oh, you got engaged over there, and how did you meet him? And it's like, well, he owns a gastropub restaurant, the award-winning restaurant, might I say so myself. And him being in that industry and having sommeliers and knowing about wines and food, and now of course I'm watching things like Chef's Table on Netflix, which is amazing. I'm getting more into it than I ever have been. So it's a very timely question to ask there, Brian.
Well, I've noticed the the food pictures on the Instagram, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, she must be a foodie. Or a lot of people consider themselves foodie just because they like to eat,
Yeah.
Some people are really
like food. No. But yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I'm glad you asked about that because I love, with having a fashion blog and stuff, it's kind of it branches out into travel and food and things like that. And now I'm traveling all over Europe and just being able to experience that. I will say that that's one of his best qualities is being able to be with someone that can appreciate that, because as you do in wrestling and being around athletes or dating athletes, which I have, it gets real boring to be around coworkers or whoever you're dating, whatever, or friends, even girlfriends that are wrestlers. Okay, I'll have the chicken with no sauce and no butter, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know how people live life like that. I'm like, take me to Bruges or Amsterdam and give me, little cute little tapas style whatever, and whatever the food where you are, whatever the locals eat, pair it with the wine and have the experience. That is so me. So it's really cool to be, especially to be in England and be so close to places like France, which I've been to like 4 or 5 times now, and experience all this stuff. I don't understand how people, eating healthy is very important. I try to eat low carb, but you gotta go out there and experience things and experience other cultures and things like that, which food is a huge part of.
Right. So now, having said all that, I have a very important food question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Very important.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why not?
No, it's a hot dog. That's a good point. It's kind of like having a sausage sandwich. No, it's a hot dog. You know why? Because I love them so much that they deserve their own category.
Okay, fair enough.
They do. They've earned it.
I do have one serious question for you.
Yeah.
Now, I know we didn't talk about it ahead of time, but I would never ask you anything political, and that's just because I respect you, and I wouldn't want to put you in any type of position.
Okay.
Please tell that to England, because everyone in England just wants to talk about Donald Trump, and I'm like, oh my God, no.
Right. So.
Put your beard down. Talk about it.
But no, I'm not going to ask you about that guy. But just being in England, and giving everything that's going on, with him, and then like I said, I'm not asking you about him, but given the whole climate and the entire climate, you got people over here, in the States, we're fighting over racial injustice, which is not anything new, but more so these last couple of years, I guess. You had a whole gender go have a march on Washington to say, hey, women's rights are important, and we're not going to be treated as objects. You got hurricanes happening left and right. Even close to you. And you're in Orlando. You said so. Florida, Texas, Miami. Excuse me. How does it make you feel being that you are? You're not living here full time.
How do you feel being so far removed from everything and knowing that everything at home is happening?
Yeah, it's weird because I try to be informed too, because Twitter, now I have a UK phone, which was a huge, oh my God, I really do live over there kind of a stat. And Twitter just tailor makes my news to British news, and that really pisses me off. And I'm like, I don't want the British news. They are so into our news. It's the weirdest thing to me. They're fascinated, and they want to talk about it in bars. I'm like, I'm not talking about this with you sober, let alone when you pass 6.
Heck no.
No, it's not gonna happen. No, I actually almost went to the Women's March in London. My mom and I were gonna go, but we didn't know. We just heard about it that day, and when we were near it, it ended up being over. But we were high-fiving everyone, and we were cracking up over the signs, taking pictures. So yeah, I'm clearly not amused with all that going on over here. It's really, I would use it as embarrassing, because being in other parts of the world, I never thought that it would be that politically it's so just how do you even justify? Of course people are going to be fascinated, and it's just so out of control, embarrassing. And then with the hurricane stuff, it's scary. I have a sister and brother-in-law and niece and nephew in London. My mom's over there a lot. I have one other sister and her family, and they're in Florida. So she was fine during the hurricane, but it feels weird to be very far removed from it. Politically, I'm kind of glad to be away from it. But then again, you can't escape any kind of negativity, because everywhere you go, London, for example, has had its share of horrific things happen. And that's, I live right near London. So I think it's a time for everyone to sort of reflect and start to use the voices that they have, use the platforms that they have, whether that be social media, doing things, to help other people, whatever. But yeah, it's weird to be far removed from it. And in some ways that's good, but in some ways you don't want to bury your head in the sand and not deal with it. So I think it it makes everyone want to sort of find their own way to contribute. And for me, those are things like Women's March. I was actually talking about doing a charitable thing for women empowerment that I'll get into when it actually happens. But yeah, but there you go. Even me personally, I've even thought about starting my own charities and things like that because of what I've seen go on. So I think it's making everyone really reflective, which is a good thing. And to use your voice, period.
No, and I agree, and I thank you for that. You know, because it actually even made, you know, having been here and, you know, being a minority and just, you know, watching all this nonsense go on, it has kind of motivated me. That's kind of one of the reasons I'm doing the web series, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I say
that's one good thing out of it, isn't it, though? It makes you feel motivated. It makes you want to do something. Because think about it. When everything's great, you kind of just go, oh, well, we don't have to deal with anything. And now everyone's like, oh, my God, we get to do something. So if one good thing came out of it, I think that's it right there, that it's motivated you and me and everybody else to even I mean, not talking about to be a downer, but even the stuff with the Weinstein stuff coming out. I posted today, I did a Women's Boycott Twitter Day because, you know, and I tried to be as well informed about it as I could. I was talking to people about it. I was just like, I don't know if I should do this or not. But then when I read everything about it, it's like, how could I not, you know, get in on this movement? And even if it's just a simple day of boycotting Twitter, at least it matters. At least you're part of the number. But even that, it's something that's horrible that happened. But guess what? It's now causing people to come forward and tell their own stories. And sometimes it takes something horrible to get people to use their voice and to change it. So with the bad, I think there's coming a lot of good as well. And that's my positive outlook because I'm always really positive anyway. Okay. Try to be.
No, I agree. I definitely agree on those points. People are banding together, talking about issues that we were ignoring, you know, and now everything is on Front Street, as they say.
Exactly. And what a shame it took all of this to get people motivated, but it worked. So, you know, so yay.
So,
we can take it from it.
So I do have one last bit of business to attend to. All right.
Okay. And then I'm going to go have a hot dog.
Yeah, I know you are. You probably have like two of them.
While watching Dick Tracy movie. Yeah.
Go look it up. You're going to enjoy it.
I'm going to do it.
You're definitely going to enjoy it. So just a couple rapid fire questions just for fun.
Okay.
Red wine or white wine?
Oh, white wine.
White wine. Okay.
100%.
Favorite wine brand?
Red wine, Apothic Red. You have to try it. It's amazing. White wine. I'm trying to get, like, if you're on, like, so morbid, if it's on death row, what white wine would I want to drink? All of it. I would say a nice dry Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio. You can get some really good Pinot Grigios from, like, Yellowtail. Or, you know, I'm not one that shies away from a good wine cube or a card Bordeaux. Wine in a box. So any white wine.
Oh, wine in the box is the shit.
You can quote me on that.
When you got like $5 in your pocket, you're like, yeah, how much is that?
Oh, yeah, they have at Trader Joe's here. They have what they call, I think it's Trader Joe's, $2 Chuck. It's
yes, the $2 Chuck.
Winking Owl. It's amazing. Try it. Skinny Girl. Also, they don't have it in the UK, unfortunately, but that's very good too.
Top 3 movies of all time.
Oh my God, this is a good one. Oh, Titanic, number 1, 100%. You don't get anything more cinematically perfect than Titanic. Oh, number 2, Harry Potter series, of course. Number 3, I'm gonna go with The Patriot.
Ooh.
I love that movie.
Ooh.
I love a historical drama, usually with Mel Gibson at the forefront. He saved us so many damn times. He saved Scotland. He saved, you know, we owe him a lot. He's a little crazy. I may or may not make people watch that in England just so I know that they understand my speech.
Like, remember, folks.
Yeah. Who won that one? Yeah.
TV show you absolutely must watch.
Oh, Wings, for sure.
Wow, Wings reference. Okay.
People don't talk about it. I love Lucy too, but like Wings is just, I mean, I just saw it on Hulu the other day. I was like, oh my God, they have Wings. Oh, it's my favorite show of all time. That or The Tudors.
Oh,
Comedy,
The Tudors.
I say Wings. The Tudors, as far as like historical drama, is my favorite.
Yeah, it's rough to watch, but yeah, I've seen it a couple of times.
It is, and Natalie Dormer, she's from Game of Thrones now, but I'm like, you don't understand. She was Anne Boleyn. Because of her, I read countless books on the history of the Henrician times and specifically Anne Boleyn. And I met her, I can't even talk about it without wanting to cry. I met her at London Film and Comic Con a few months ago, and she was in the room, and like I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't even go near her. I love her so much. And she was, you know what she did? She came in like, her hair was done. She had like a beautiful dress on. She came to play. Like it wasn't like some of these actors like, oh, take me seriously, I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. No, honey. She had a gown. She was just luminous, and she didn't walk. She just glided around the room.
That's how I met Beyonce once, and that's how she was. I swear.
That's the thing. You're not going to be Beyonce if you're like, I bet she doesn't half-ass it.
Most memorable wrestling moment that you've been a part of?
I kind of always go back to the heel turn, just because on the independents, before and after, I'm always a heel. I mean, I'm 90% of the time a heel. And people are always like, people that only watched Impact were like, I just can't imagine you being a heel. And everyone that's met me for more than 5 minutes is like, what are you talking about? Because doing the Jay Lethal, like, oh, Miss Elizabeth, that was actually, it wasn't hard, but it was not very me. It didn't feel like me acting. I was always the rich bitch character. So when I got to turn heel, I loved it so much because I was finally like, this is SoCal Val. Right. SoCal Val was never like, oh, gee, little wallflower. No. With all due respect to Miss Elizabeth, it switched from the Miss Elizabeth to the Stephanie McMahon, persona. So I was thrilled about that.
That was very good TV. That was very good TV. I missed that.
Me too. I guess if you watch old Evolve, like I hope they put Evolve on the WWE Network, because we did so many hilarious things. Like me and she's now Sage Beckett in WWE. We just got to be such brats and just run amok at ringside and rip things up and just be hilarious. And I love that. I miss those days.
Now, last one. If you weren't doing the many things rather that you're doing now, in terms of your career, what would you be doing? In your mind, anyway.
I can't even imagine, because I'm one of those people that just always knew. I'm not like, I always knew I was going to be in wrestling. By like 11, I knew I wanted to be in wrestling, or so 12 maybe. But before that, it was acting. So it's always been entertainment based. So like I always knew it would be something entertainment. I always kind of wanted to have an office job just because I wanted a briefcase and like a cute suit, because I love people in offices. It just fascinates me. But I was hell, and I couldn't do it. So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to be doing something creative. There are a couple of weird avenues I will touch on though that people don't think I like. I was just saying to my mom the other day, I love paleontology. I wish I had time or somehow could get more into that and like attend. I've always loved paleontology, and I love art history. So, for example, Christian's wife, who's like the most gorgeous woman in the whole damn world, oh my God, talk about gliding. She was into art history, and I remember I talked to her about it backstage at TNA, and I was just like, if I didn't do what I did, what she was studying, I remember thinking would be what I would want to study. Just, every era of art and art history and just architecture and beautiful buildings in Europe and things like that. So those are two areas that people are probably not well versed in that I like, but I like it. I don't want to dig up stuff. I just like paleontology. I just want to learn about it.
No, that stuff is interesting. That's very interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
I want to be Sam Neill in Jurassic Park. Better.
Isn't he coming back for Jurassic World 2 or something?
He friggin' better. I love him, and I love Jurassic. I have Jurassic World and Jurassic Park Lego that I play. It's the only video game I play.
That's funny. We'll talk about video games next time.
Episode 2.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. You are.
Thank you.
No, you don't have to thank me for anything. You're the best.
Yes, I do.
You.
I always tell the story of how much fun that we had it. For those watching and loving it, here's a great Brian and Val story. We were at the last show that we did. We had Mean Gene there, and we, of course, had some wine, because why not? And Mean Gene, I don't even know if you were around to hear this. I hope you were. I feel like you were. He said, because people were filing in, and he said, Val, after we all have this wine, this place is going to look like Madison Square Garden. Cheers. And it's just, how much cooler can you get than having wine with Mean Gene? We basically made it, Brian. We're good now.
Oh my God.
Well, that's an awesome story. I remember you did say that he was enjoying it, and he kind of looked over at me and was just like,
oh yeah, he's just that guy. That's my favorite stories. Yeah. That's amazing. Weird little dysfunctional family we had that night. Yeah, that was great.
And that's the funny thing. You guys, and that was the second time you guys came up, at least that I've been there. And you guys, I was watching. I'm sitting there like, these guys are having fun, probably drunk as a skunk, which is great, and I'm like,
we were cheering for Sunny. Remember, we love Sunny.
Everyone loves the Sunny kiss. Shout out to Sunny Kiss.
Of course. We're there for the Sunny Kiss and the wine, which should be a brand of wine, so we'll have to get on that.
All right, Sunny, I'm taking the IP, but we can work together on it.
Yes. Cut. Taste test. No, yeah, let's do that again sometime. I'm back in the States at least 3 or 4 times next year, so hopefully I can get up that way and we'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, SoCal Val, the most amazing woman in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your girl, SoCal Val. And Val, I just want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for giving me just a little bit of your time. I really enjoyed doing the interview. Seems as though you had fun. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen at home, enjoyed the interview. But again, Val, thank you. Val is awesome. And I'm not just saying that, ladies and gentlemen. She is an awesome and sweet individual. So please just show her some love. Follow her on Twitter. Follow her on Instagram. Follow her on Facebook. If you're a fan of hers, subscribe to her Patreon site. Of course, again, if you're a fan or if you're just a fan of sports, watch Fight TV Network. She's great. She does good work. And ladies and gentlemen, on that note, there's nothing else for me to say, except don't forget to follow the World News Local on Twitter and Instagram at World News with a Z. And if you choose, please follow me at B_skills with a Z on the Instagram and on the Twitter. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a stranger and stay away from danger. Oh, wait a minute. Shout out to Sunny Kiss. Follow Sunny Kiss at Sunny Kiss XO. And that's about it. Shout out to The New Day. Brian Black. Out.
These are my roots. Home is heart. My first love. My first start. Wherever I am, wherever I go, you've gotta know my soul is home. These are my roots. Home is heart. My first love, my first start. Wherever I am, wherever I go, you've gotta know. I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere, trying to remember exactly how we got there. I'm looking around, don't see nobody I know, cause I'm lost out of place, don't know where to go. I'm just trying to find my way back east. You cannot separate my soul from these streets. I wanna go where them corner stores sell ices for 25 cents. That's a quarter.